He didn't advocate going out and conquering by the sword like Muhammad did. You know, he said either submit, you know, either convert or you'll be killed. Jesus said, go out and share with people, and either they're going to believe or not. If they don't believe, just leave and go on and share with the next person, because I'm a loving God. I'm a communicator. The word information, He's information, and it's through information that will lead us to truth in a loving, gentle way. And we're all about love. We're made to love and communicate gently, not force anything on anybody. And so that fits, that would be more in tune with a loving, true God. Would you agree, Jeremy?
I agree.
Whereas evolution then was used purely, you know, Stalin took, you know, he wiped out the idea of religion in communism, said there is no God, obviously, we're evolved. And so just like that guy who called up before, Don, the ends justify the means, we can eradicate millions and millions of Soviet citizens if it's for the benefit of the majority, in his mind, whatever the benefit might be. And Hitler did something very similar. He said, yeah, we're evolving as humans. Obviously, Darwin's proved that. The German scientists were heavily into that and throughout all their writing. It's been proven, they said, we're the human race, survival of the fittest. The Aryan race is the best. And so let's get rid of those that are holding down the human race from evolving. And that's where the New Agers, their leadership, the channeling forces that are channeling these messages through them, through Alice Bailey, Madame Blavatsky, and today through someone like Marianne Williamson, who's featured on Oprah Winfrey, or Jay-Z Knight, and those. The messages are that it's okay to kill those that are going to keep the evolutionary process of our minds and developing to what we can be, our soul nature, our spiritual nature. You know, it's okay, they'll say, because you reincarnate anyway, so we'll kill you. You reincarnate in any case, and we'll kill you and send you on. You'll come back eventually, and it'll be all for the good. And in fact, God said someday they're going to be killing you, and say it's for God's, you know, wants it done that way. And that's exactly what's going to happen as I see it through European Union. Any last comments, Jeremy, before we take this next call?
No, you guys have a nice day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You too.
Jennifer will be right with you. One thing I'd like to add, Mike, is I had a conversation in the last couple of days about how the date in this world testifies of God. We have the before Christ dates and the AD dates. And I think it's taken after the Latin word Adonai, something like that, which means day of the Lord. So even our date today, 2009 AD, testifies.
But that's a cultural thing, because we believe, and there are Christians who made it that way.
Well, why hasn't it been changed?
Jews don't have it. They don't use it that way, and Muslims won't use it that way. So I think that's a whole different aspect.
Is that right?
Yes,
but yet, in general, around the world, we
because
use that.
Western culture does, but those cultures don't.
Germany doesn't?
They're Western culture. They're Christianized culture.
Okay.
Jennifer, how you doing? What would you like to share with us?
I want to ask a question that's probably not related to your topic tonight, but it's about where in the Bible can I find that it says that Satan was the music director in heaven? And so me and my friend tonight are having a discussion about music being of the devil and all this kind of stuff. And I've been going to camp this whole week, and my aunt's been so upset from the music they're playing because it's all infused with modern music and guitar and all this good stuff. So I would.
Wait, Jennifer, I'd like to say, have you seen the film by Pastor Joe Schimmel? We've shown sections of it in the past, and
yeah, I went online and saw it. They showed the Led Zeppelin and all that.
Right,
correct?
right.
Okay.
It's 10 hours of it actually.
Oh, okay.
And he'll say himself that it's not the music itself that's evil. It's the content in terms of the lyrics that can be made evil. But that's a separate question from the original question, that where in the Bible does it say Satan was the music director in heaven or whatever. I can tell you that it says that Satan had musical instruments built into him. That's in Ezekiel chapter 28, where God says that in the day he was created, he had um, kind of string instruments and trumpet-type cymbal instruments placed inside him, made in him, in Ezekiel chapter 28. There are other verses that indicate that the reason God did that, and he was the highest of the angels, that the reason God did that was because it seems that he was leading worship in heaven. And God does love music. He had music being played in the temple when Solomon built the first Jewish temple for God to reside in the Holy of Holies in it. God commanded that there be trumpet players and all sorts of musicians with, instruments of, like stringed instruments, etc. So it was all there. So God likes music. So we can't get the two confused. We shouldn't get the two confused. Satan is brilliant. He was the highest angel. And so his music is brilliant. It's great, great music in itself. But the message, the lyrics that are given in the music are meant to deceive. And that's where the rub is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there's also the talk about the trance, how, you get in the trance with the rhythm and all of that.
You can, a little bit, the altered state of consciousness. Jay, you going to add something to that?
Not really, other than, be very wary of the mantras, the repeated one verse over and over and over where they work you up into a frenzy, and it becomes hypnotic. Yeah. Because it's at that point where you get really close to that altered state of consciousness, and that is henceforth where the danger lies, is emptying yourselves, as the Eastern religion teaches, is to empty yourself. And God says don't be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Does that make sense?
So he's saying don't empty your mind like in meditation, and music, if it can get you in a repetitive, simple thing, saying the same thing over and over again.
It opens up the endorphins, and scientifically, physically, it's 200 times stronger than morphine. And that's really what takes place once those endorphins kick in.
And probably because of the negative lyrics, it makes you more susceptible, the enjoyment, the state that you're in, makes you more susceptible to those lyrics because of the kind of floating, happy state that you're in that good music puts you in. But I'm all for good music. So, in 2 weeks we'll be back live. You can also email us through our website, and I can give you the answer. We'll try and look it up for you.
And I used to know where it is, Jennifer, so I'm going to have to go home and look it up myself.
But there are a couple of verses that imply that Satan led music worship in heaven. We'll try and find those. And you, if you want to, on the internet, you can put it into a search engine.
And I'm thinking
like that.
It's Ezekiel, but again, I need to go home and investigate it myself, because I used to know.
Well, thanks.
But just knowing that God made him with musical instruments implies that, well, if God put musical instruments in his most...
Yeah, and I believe the Hebrew word was tendril, or the English word was tendril, which referred to instruments, music.
Timbrel.
Timbrel, yeah.
But that's one of the translation words. But in any case, I was trying to make the point that if God took the time to put musical instruments in him, and doesn't say that God put musical instruments in anything else he created, any other living creature, that obviously music was going to be an important part of what Satan was before, as an angel, what he was supposed to be doing.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mike, I believe there is scripture reference that alludes to Satan being a worship leader.
Right. Jennifer, are you still there, or are you gone?
Can I ask something?
Yeah, before you do, I'm just curious. Are you calling from Portland also?
Yeah, Portland.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I've been going to the Bible camp out in Gladstone and enjoying the sermons, but my aunt, I asked her something because one of the pastors said how Satan was cast down to earth, and then before man was created, and then man was created and placed on this earth. And I asked her, well, why? Why is that? And she said that in all the galaxies and universes, there's planets inhabited just like this one, but we're the only planet that fell.